Just make sure we're plugged in. All right, sweet. So welcome to Unshakeable. So this is going to be a pretty cool program. Thanks for jumping on. And yeah, so start off, who are you? Where are you from? Tell us a little bit of a story about you. Just really, really brief. Where you grew up, where you're going to end up, and what you're doing with your days at the moment. Tyler.
I'm Tyler. I grew up in Dunedin in New Zealand. Moved here to Australia when I was 10.
What school did you go to?
When I moved here?
No, in Dunedin.
Oh, St. Joseph's Primary School.
Oh yeah, I went there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For grade 1.
Yeah.
And then we moved to the North Island.
Yeah,
but,
cool.
Not much to tell really about me. Right now I'm just working full-time still. Working at Athlete Assessments, which is a behavioural psychology company. We work with Olympic and elite athletes.
Cool. Yeah. Very cool. We'll go, I was going to say clockwise, but it's hard to know because everyone will be in a different position. So Amanda looks like she's ready.
So I grew up in Toowoomba. So for those of you who don't know, that's like an hour and a half outside of Brisbane. That's kind of like a small country town, but like nowadays it's like grown heaps in population. What am I doing? I'm working from home, I guess, for my law company, doing that, and then just training and taking the coaching sessions for Deal Online. That's my story.
Cool.
I'm Sarah. I'm currently living in Brisbane. I didn't grow up there. I grew up in Gladstone, Central Queensland. I am a PT, but not really working that much at the moment. Just doing some programming, and a few PTs in the park. But I've actually just gone to visit my dad, so I'm gonna stay here for a week or so. But otherwise, just training CrossFit at the moment. And that's me.
Cool. Yeah, sweet. Awesome, girls. Cool. All right. So tonight's basically the first night. So I'm just going to go over, I'll share the screen with everyone. Cool. So essentially the first week is about building basically as much confidence in yourself as you possibly can. And one of the quotes that I got taught lately I thought was quite cool is like, confidence isn't something you feel, it's something that you do. And it's really true because like from day to day, we can feel different all the time. And if we're constantly searching for that feeling of confidence, it's actually quite hard to get because we're letting it be out of our control. So if we turn it into something that is in our control and something that we do, then we can think about these repeatable processes that we can basically do on a day-to-day basis to build our own confidence and to be basically perform at our best. Tyler, also, if you want to jump in on any of this too, because this is your subject, so just jump in. But so yeah, essentially this whole course, I'll quickly go over it just so you can see it. Cool. So is everyone had a look at the back end of this so far?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So just do a quick thing. So yeah, week 1 is the confident athlete, and then week 2 goes on to the healthy athlete. Week 3 is the jacked athlete, so that's more about performance, and then week 4 we sort of bring it all together in a pretty cool little package. But so you just scroll through this, it'll sort of go through the next thing, you go next lesson. It's taking a while, but just so cool. And then we have all our testing protocols. So who went through the testing? Tyler got some pretty good scores on the test. So
not yet.
How'd you go, Sarah?
I haven't done mine yet.
That's cool. We done
Have
a
some
few of yours
data
not too long ago though, eh? So
yeah.
cool. But yeah, these are all in here. So like in terms of the athlete profile testing, because you guys are coaches, I'll explain it a little bit. So like the jump test, how it works is essentially it's a super easy test that you can actually identify any imbalances. So when someone jumps, you basically look at the way they jump. If they keep an upright torso, it's starting to lean towards they're probably more of a quad dominant athlete. If they do, what you want to look for is, are they leaning forward? Are they leaning back? How do they jump? Do they jump deep or shallow? And you can tell a lot from that. In terms of Tyler, she's actually got quite a deep jump. So she lowers herself quite low down, but then she jumps quite high. So in that case, it could be it's just the way she's either been taught to jump, or it could give us an indication that she's got more of a slow twitch fiber dominance, which is potentially true because of her aerobic tests are pretty good. But she's also trained to be very explosive as well. And when we first tested Tyler, when she first started training, she actually like leaned forward a lot on her test, which means that she was actually using her lower back a lot to lift. And then we've done a heap of quad work, and that's actually straightened up her vertical leap a little bit more, which is cool anyway. So just for coaches, like it's a really good test. The clat test is pretty cool too, because what you're looking for is what happens to the knee and the hip. So for example, when she jumped off, if her knee caves in, it means she's got weak abduction. So weak abductors, or basically your external rotators of the legs. If it sort of collapses out, she's probably weak on the inside. If she collapses forward, she's probably got weak hamstrings or a weak lower back. If her torso moves, it's an indication of her core strength and stability. So it's a pretty cool little test. You can tell a lot from it, and it sort of gives you an idea of what you need to put in terms of accessory work for an athlete. So Tyler's pretty stable on most of these now. Your boyfriend, was weak through the back, but strong everywhere else. So
Yeah, all back.
yeah, and that's where he gets a few. Does he get a few injuries in his back, or?
He's had a little bit in his back and in his knees.
Yeah.
He's just super tough, mainly in his hamstrings.
Yeah, for sure. It's cool. Yeah, but sweet. So, and then obviously the ankle test. If you got limitations here, we got some pretty good programs in terms of each one of these. But if you're passing most of these, like your issue is not mobility, it's actually probably stability. So if you can pass these tests in general, we don't really need to do anything else to improve your mobility. It's just making you a bit more stable and a bit more strong. So that's, yeah, it's pretty straightforward anyway. So cool. And then all the testing here. Next one is, where are we? Cool. And then it just goes into a bit about how to use the programs. Pretty straightforward. But then when we get into our the actual part of our confidence, cool. So basically we're going to have like, I guess, 2 modules a week. And the first one is, yeah, it's about building your most confident self, or building up that confidence and turning confidence into something that you do instead of a feeling that you search for. So is there any times, maybe if you jump off mute, that you've found that you might have been lacking confidence?
Learning new skills.
Yeah.
Competition.
Yep.
So it's weird. I'll like train, like especially even in powerlifting, I would have like spent like 16 solid weeks of like training and then doing really well, and then on the day it would just like crumble. So.
Yeah, cool. Do you remember any like potential red flags that you noticed?
Like what do you mean?
Like, was there something that you were like, you knew was happening, but you're like, shit, that's out of my control? Like, so for example, when you go into a comp, did you notice that like you might start walking around a little bit more, going to the toilet a bit more often, or like fidgeting?
I probably would have like looking back on it now, maybe not like back then, because I was like,
Yep.
bit younger. So, and it was probably like my real first kind of competition, I guess. But yeah, I guess like probably like just like nervous energy and just like walking around heaps and like talking, like just getting real chatty. I know Sarah can probably like vouch for this. Like I just like talk heaps when I get real nervous and I'm just like won't shut up. So I probably was like the annoying person at the comp that sort of talked to everybody.
Yeah, cool.
Rather than focusing on my own self.
Arousal curve. Yeah, cool. That's something I think I'll put in too, is like arousal curves, because that's massive when you're competing, especially in something like lifting sport, because it's so determined. Like there's so much that ties into how aroused your nervous system is.
Yeah, it would have been nice maybe back then to like know how to actually effectively use that energy to like actually lift rather than like putting me off.
Yeah.
Like I think my last comp, like I went out and like a warm up weight that I'd like hit heaps of times in like training, I like missed it. And it's just, and then it's kind of like everything was just like shot, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, cool. We'll go into that a bit later. But yeah, in terms of like arousal curves, like you've got people, and this is like I think like from what I know about you and Mo, Tyler, is like Mo is like super chill until the pressure's on, and then he's like here. Where you're almost the opposite, where like you're thinking 100 miles an hour, but then you can bring it back as well.
Yeah, I find that I do better in pressure situations if it's like a time constraint.
Yeah.
And if it's like, if I have to make so many shots in a row or something, then I get in my head a little bit, and then that's when my confidence dips and I can't like bring it back. But if I'm like under a time pressure, then it like helps me find that state of performance where I'll perform really well.
Yeah.
If it's just like, if I'm just playing, then I just think like 100 miles an hour about everything, which can hinder my performance.
Yeah, that's cool. That's it's real interesting. It's real interesting. I've seen it a few times with like lifters now, in terms of even like myself, when I did the burpee world record. Like I've never in my life ever, I've done so many competitions, and I'm normally quite chill, and like I find it good. But on that morning, just for some reason, I don't know why, but I almost vomited like before I started, and I was like, what the fuck? But I sort of looked back on it, and what I noticed was in the morning I did like a Wim Hof session and a meditation. And when you do Wim Hof, you're actually peaking your adrenaline as well, because of the breath holds. It starts to spike adrenaline. Then I also had like a big hit of pre-workout as well, which is another spike of like cortisol and adrenaline. And then also just like, I think the enormous situation. And then there's a few things that happened that morning. Plus the day before was like super emotional, because it's like my dad's birthday and like the day before Hunter's birthday. And I think I was just like, everything was just through the roof. And then on that day, I just could not settle myself down. It was a really weird situation. Like I've never ever felt like that in my life. But looking back on it, it's sort of like you take away key points and you can sort of dissect and reflect on it, and then go back for the next time you prepare, which is pretty cool. So yeah, just talking about that, like essentially what we want to build on tonight is confidence is almost like a domino effect. So if you start to like have one little piece of confidence that you know that when you do it, or when you build in yourself, that'll knock over another little bit of confidence, and it builds and builds and builds. And what we want to go through tonight is we're going to start off with the confidence resume. So I'm not sure if you guys can load this up on your computer, but we might just go through a segment each together as a group. And we'll probably start with Sarah, because she's at the top of my screen. So we'll sort of work our way down, which is cool. So basically, this is from a guy named Brian Kane. He does a lot of like the mindset sort of coaching in the States. He's a pretty interesting sort of guy. But basically, the confidence resume is about giving yourself a bit of a rap about, hey, I have actually achieved something. And what you want to do is you look back on it in times when you feel like, you know, nothing's going right. You can't really put things together and you might be doubting what you're actually capable of. So what we want to do is put together this confidence resume that sort of gives you, like, reaffirms that, okay, yes, I actually have done some stuff and I actually am good and I am building towards something, rather than just like not having the confidence that you're going to reach your goals and you're starting to like spiral out of control of either anxiety about, you know, not getting to where you want to be, or depression with because you haven't got to where you want it to be. So a sense of progress is crucial to feeling competent and confident. One of the greatest changes of a rapidly changing world is that we really get to feel or register all the things we've accomplished and mastered before, like, you're back on the field where you're trying to either learn something new or like achieve a new goal. We don't often like sit there to take time and actually reflect back on what we've actually done, so that we can take little pieces of it, but also build confidence and use the good things we've done, and also reflect on, you know, the things we could have done better to build more and more fuel to fuel our performance going forward. So when you think you figured something out, like, bang, you have to learn something new. And if you don't really take credit for what you've learned, then you'll never feel as though you've progressed, and progress is the goal. So we want to actually give ourselves a bit of a high five and take in that feeling and build on that confidence that we actually have progressed, so that we're always actually working towards it. So basically, you want to be a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday, and then a better version of yourself tomorrow than you were today. Cool. So what I want you to think about is part one. Like, have a really good think about, where does your confidence come from? So what I want you to do is list the areas that you feel your confidence come from. There's no right or wrong answers from this. It could be like you get your confidence from your parents. It could be that you get your confidence from results that you got in the past. It could be that you're just confident in yourself. So yeah, take about 3 to 5 minutes and write that down, and then dive into where you get your confidence from. Cool. How we going, girls?
Not too bad.
Just munching some more watermelon. Cool. All right, Sarah?
I'm struggling with this one. I think confidence, where does it come from? I wrote down, like, comes from me and myself, and kind of a little bit of self-reflection and acknowledging what I am capable of, and kind of like reiterating that I am good at what I do, or whatever it is. Comes from practicing whatever it is. So I guess there's confidence in different areas. So whether it's training or something like in the gym, it's like I become confident in my ability when I've practiced it.
Yeah.
Also, it does come from other people as well. So people that are important to me, close to me, them kind of lifting me up, or maybe kind of like stroking your ego a little bit. That definitely can help.
Have you ever done the 5 love languages?
Yes.
Are you words of affirmation?
No.
What are you? What's
I don't think so. I haven't done the test like properly. I just did a little online quiz thing, but I haven't like looked into what they are exactly, so I couldn't tell you probably what I am. But there's one that you give and one you receive, right? Correct.
Yeah. So gifts or acts of service.
But can you be like a different language that you like to give and a different language that you like to receive?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Maybe I think Amanda, I think you've looked into them.
Yeah,
Generally, we give what we want to receive as well.
Yeah, so I'm like straight up words of affirmation, and like like 2 of my points on here was when people come to me for advice or want help with something, and then when people give me praise. That's like where my confidence comes from. It's like pure like, you did awesome. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Now I feel good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, cool.
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, it's handy to know, and it's cool to know for like your clients as well, because sometimes you can like, you can juice people up a little bit. Like I had one girl, she'd always bring me like snacks, and it was so weird, and like she was bringing me these snacks, but what she was doing, she was also like, she wasn't eating those snacks, so she was reducing her calories heavily, but she was giving me these snacks because she really appreciated me. It was just like, it was a weird situation. But but then one day we just like, I got her like I got her some snacks, and she was like the happiest person ever, eh? So it was like, yeah. So sometimes it's handy to sort of listen. Cool, Amanda.
So like training wise, hitting a PB or like nailing a new movement when I've been working hard on it. When someone comes to me for advice or they want help with something, when people give me praise, and when I do something that I didn't think I was possible or able to do.
Yeah, cool. How would you explain that, like in real easy terms?
Like all of those together?
Yeah.
I guess for me, simple terms, I like to work hard on things, but I want people to notice.
Okay. Yeah. 2A. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like.
You go, Sarah.
I was gonna say, I like what you said about people coming to you and like asking you questions, asking you for advice. That's definitely a big thing that I think of. Like when people come and seek out my knowledge, it makes me feel like really good and confident in what I know.
Yeah.
It must be a trait of a coach, eh? Like, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Tyler.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a trait of a coach, because I don't care if people come ask me. Like,
you're a type 3, aren't you, Tyler?
Because I'm just doing this because this is how I think I do it. My confidence, pretty much, to sum it up, just comes from my past experience. So if I hit a PB in the weight room, or if I hit a PB on the court with like a time sprint, or how many shots I can make in a row, then I know that I've done it once and I can do it again when I need to draw on it or when I need to execute it again. Also, I get a lot of confidence from my peers because I'm a very self-critical person. It takes sometimes a really close friend group of mine to see potential in me and push me where I didn't think that I'd be able to achieve something. And it helps because I know that they think that I can do it. So I also think I can do it because they believe in me. And then, just like practicing everything perfectly when no one's watching. Always helps me feel like I can do it when everyone's watching, because I've practiced it so many times.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. It's I can't remember that quote, but it's the man who's like training when no one's watching is generally the one that's successful. Yeah, that's awesome, girls. Cool. That's really cool. It's pretty, like, everyone's pretty similar, eh? Like, get a little bit from our peers, but a lot of it comes from just, I guess, doing that work and knowing that we're confident because we've done the work and that preparation. So it's actually from everyone that I've seen who has been successful, like whether it's in the gym, whether it's like one of the athletes, or like if it's someone who's broken a sharing world record, it's the person who's done the most work and prepared properly, that generally on the day when shit goes wrong, that they know that they can they know their preparation is going to get them through away. So it's pretty massive. Yeah, awesome, girls. Cool. So next one is like, it is quite hard to actually like just think off the top of your head, like where our confidence comes from. So that's why we do this confidence resume and actually like dive into it and identify where all of this stuff comes from. And so what we want to do is basically acknowledge all the things that you've done, so your progress. So I'll just read it, but basically taking the time to acknowledge the progress that you make, even on like a daily basis, as you're focused on meeting the challenges ahead. Throughout your lifetime, you've probably had like tens of thousands of wins. And I was thinking about it the other day, like pretty much all of us are overachievers right from the start. Like we beat out like 10 million other sperms or whatever. You know, we survived to our 20s and 30s. Like we're actually doing really, really well if you look at statistics of everything. So like even just like taking that as a win and just the little things, and I think acknowledging the little things, especially in a world where the little things don't even seem important because all we see is the big elite stuff. It's pretty cool to actually like give yourself a little bit of credit. But you never gave yourself like credit when you learned to ride a bike, you know, because once you learn to ride a bike, you're trying to do bloody wheelies or you're trying to do jumps. You know, it's like as soon as you can learn to shoot a ball, Tyler, you're probably trying to like do layups, and you know, you're always trying to do something new. Same with CrossFit, eh? It's like when you can do a pull up, you're like, I'm going to do kipping. And then when you're done kipping, you're going to do butterflies. And then you're going to do muscle ups. And it's like, it never really stops. But if you look back and think how hard it actually is for just a normal person to get a normal pull up, and then to be able to do a kipping and then butterfly pull ups, like it's actually fucking hard. And then so if we don't actually give ourselves little bits of, use that as fuel to realize like you can take that and move on to the next thing. So where are we? Cool. So basically, to increase your confidence, write down and write out the accomplishments and achievements that you've made in the past decade, or you know, the past few years that give you the most confidence. This activity will require you to consciously remember all the small successes you've had to get to where you are today. So write out the skills you've developed, every book you've read, every new principle of success you've learned. And then basically you can use this to watch how your confidence grows as you reflect back on all the things that you've achieved. So what I want you to take the time to write down is write down what athletic accomplishments you've achieved. And that can be in the last year, it can be in the last, you know, like your entire life. So it could be that you won the 5-year-old cross country, you know, where there was like 3 people at, you know, but, you know, so start to write down the things that you've actually had success with and just build out this confidence resume. So first one is, what are your athletic accomplishments you've had? What are the life accomplishments you've had? What books have you read that have given you like heaps of confidence? So it could be a book that you've read in coaching. It could be a book that you've read on psychology. It could be a book that you read at uni or, you know, in your studies that has given you a lot of knowledge and a lot of confidence in your skills. What courses, workshops, or training camps have you attended? Who are the people you turn to? What are the traits you most like about yourself? And then the last one, what is the number one thing you've done in your life that you are most proud of? But we'll start with the top one. So just list off some athletic accomplishments that you've read, that you've had. Cool. So spend a couple minutes on that. And then what life accomplishments? Do you find it hard to like write about the things you've done well?
Yeah, I find it hard.
Yeah. Sometimes there's a like, I know growing up in New Zealand, like even if you said like you were happy that you bloody made the All Blacks, you're a wanker, you know? So it's pretty crazy. So guys, how are we going with those ones?
Good. Got a few down, but I guess I'm kind of thinking like what scale, because you could list thousands. Right?
Yeah, exactly. But that's the whole point. So it's like starting with the smallest things and then just building and building and building.
Yeah, no, that's good.
So yeah, what are some athletic accomplishments that you've achieved?
Me?
Sarah?
Got like a couple of small things and like a couple of bigger things. One of them, like learning to do a handstand, learning to do a muscle up, competing at Waterpalooza.
Yeah.
And then like a few other things kind of like pop into my head from like school years and whatever else. And I rode horses for most of my life. So it was like being state champion for a few years in a row, stuff like that.
Yeah. Cool. How hard was it to become state champion?
I don't know. It's kind of like you qualify. So this was show jumping. So you have to win an event to qualify, and then you go to the comp, and then you have to win that, obviously.
Yep. So basically, like, there's a whole process of like going through in different stages. So
yeah, and it's like it's challenging because you've got like a partnership with the horse, right? So you've got to train the horse, and then you've got to go through that whole process.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I think that stuff's real important too, like knowing that you can progress through different stages. I remember like when I was playing rep rugby in New Zealand, like I was playing for like just a local club team, and then I worked my way up I ended up playing like the under 21 pretty much provincial team when I was like, I think I was 17 or 18. And like in that team, there was guys that were just crazy. And I was like, how the fuck did I even get here? And it's just like, it's real crazy. Like, but then when you think about it, like I played rugby all through my life, and then you just get these little steps, and then you get into a team that's like pretty good. And then those little steps, they all add up along the way. And then you sort of like, before you know it, you're sort of there, but you don't really look at the steps that you've taken to get there.
Yeah.
But when you reflect on it, it gives you that idea that like, shit, actually, if I go through the processes and the steps, you can actually get it. I think it's probably like something as a coach that I think that's why we sort of try to get our clients to do that. Because like we know we've seen that process so many times and done it ourselves that it's like, shit, if I can do it, someone else can do it. Which is pretty cool. Amanda?
So athletic accomplishments. Competed at states for netball when I was in high school, and competed at worlds for powerlifting.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. When did you do that?
Powerlifting?
Yeah.
Like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
So a while.
Yeah, cool.
I was a baby.
Still are.
You're not that much older than me, Dylan.
Hey?
You're not that much older than me.
How old are you?
32.
Oh, bloody hell. You're in your prime, mate. It's sort of like, guys like taper off. Girls are like good till they're like 50, so.
See, that's weird because Chris says that men age well and women don't.
Yeah.
So he's like, you're downhill from here and I'm uphill.
Yeah. Goes both ways, I suppose.
Shut up, Chris.
Yeah. Shut up, Chris.
Men
You
probably
go,
like aren't as stupid, but I don't know. Tyler.
Well, mine's just like I got 5 dips. That was cool.
Yeah.
My first pull up probably took me like 4 years of college, but I got there eventually.
Yeah.
I attended college for 3.5 years, and then while I was there, going into my senior year, I broke the school record for the fitness test.
Yeah.
And I played state under 18.
Yeah. Cool. That's awesome. And then state. Yeah, sick. That's awesome. Cool. One thing I really like from that is like this journey of like when it's like it took me 4 years to get there. What that says to me is that like you didn't give up for 4 years, which is it's pretty cool. Like that's a really cool thing. That's what I'd take away from that for like when you tell me that, I'm like, yeah, okay, shit, she's gonna stick at this for pretty much as long as it takes, which is pretty cool. Sweet girls, what about in your life? What are the things that you've accomplished? Even though you're all pretty young, but
And I have a law degree.
yeah,
I've started 2 businesses.
yeah,
I've bought a house.
yeah. Yeah, cool. Tyler.
I haven't done much because I've been in school. But I graduated school early, so that was cool.
Cool. What'd you do? Psychology?
Yeah, psychology.
Yeah, sick. What else? Like, what's something that you've done that's real cool that most people don't get to do?
Went to Italy. Portugal.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Went to college in America?
Pardon?
Went to college in America?
Oh, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, that's cool though. Cool. Sarah?
I have a business degree.
Yeah.
I have multiple qualifications in the fitness industry, PT, strength conditioning, lifting.
Yeah.
That's it so far.
Yeah, it's cool. You also like toured America, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I got to travel to America.
Yeah. It's like how I do to say like I remember shit about everyone, and it's like it's just real weird. Like it's funny. Like I think seeing it from like an outside perspective, like because I guess I've known you guys a little bit of time now. Like just when people actually like, it's amazing what like it's hard for us to look inside and internalize like what we've actually done. But then when people outside of your own self, like people like, fuck, that's pretty fucking cool, eh? Like what you've actually done. And sometimes when you like take the time to reflect on this and be like, okay, shit, like all of you girls are sort of like doing pretty awesome in your careers. You know, you're going hard, you're doing well with your sporting careers as well. And just taking that time to actually like give yourself a bit of credit for what you've done can make a massive difference, hey? Cool. What books have you read? So take a bit of time just to go over what books have you done, what courses, workshops, training camps have you completed or attended? And this can be either like in regards to your sports or your career. But basically, what education or further knowledge have you acquired that gives you confidence in yourself and your abilities? Sarah?
I actually keep a list of the books that I've read, so I've got.
Can you share that to the group?
Yeah.
Yeah, sick.
Like Think Grow Rich, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Lost Connections, Deep Work. That's just a couple, but I have a whole list that I am yet to read.
How do you find those first two, like Think and Grow Rich and 7 Habits?
I liked the 7 Habits, but I listened to it on audio, and it had a few exercises that you could do. So probably buy the hard copy if you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
But I did like it, and it had heaps of good tips in there, and like kind of practical stuff that you can apply. Think Grow Rich was it was okay. I don't know. It was a bit of a slower read for me, but I did like it.
Yeah.
I also haven't read that many books, so some of them take me a bit to get into.
Yeah, that's cool. What about courses and workshops, training camps that give you confidence in your ability as an athlete?
I haven't done that many, to be honest. Courses like my Ollie lifting course.
Yeah.
With AWF, definitely gave me some confidence in my lifting abilities. The handstand workshop with Morgan that I did a few years back with you.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of off the top of my head.
Cool. Waterpalooza's almost one of those, eh? Like really?
Yeah, definitely. There were seminars and things there, and like the whole experience of that was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's epic. Cool. Tyler.
The only 2 books I've really read, they're kind of for my degree, but one of them's called Anatomy of an Epidemic, and then the other one's called Happiness Hypothesis.
What did you say? Anatomy of a Pandemic?
Epidemic.
Epidemic. Cool. Yeah, so what's that about?
Basically, it's just the history of psychiatric drugs. So it takes you through when doctors first started administering like horse tranquilizers to patients, and then why that's not okay. And then takes you through the current drugs like Prozac and benzodiazepines that they're administering to patients today, and why that's also not okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just helps me kind of understand. It talks a lot about the brain and hormones and neural pathways and stuff, and just kind of explains a lot, which helps me be confident in my understanding of clinical psychology.
Yeah, so and what about like courses, workshops and training camps for your sports?
The only thing I've really done in sports was the DISC profiling, so the behavioral psychology.
Yeah.
I did some state training when I was on the state team. I took a course in college called Philosophy of Sport.
Philosophy?
Yeah, Philosophy of Sport.
Yeah, that's cool. What was that about?
It was about a couple of different things, but like our main focus was about sort of like whether sports that are like boxing and wrestling, like should they be allowed to continue because they're really physical and violent, and like people can mess up their lives and their brains from that, or if college athletes should be paid, things like that.
Yeah, hectic. Cool. Amanda.
Yeah, cool. So books, I've read Think Grow Rich, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, High Performance Habits.
Yeah.
Heaps of like time management books, mindset books, money books, strength and training and Olympic lifting books, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, Daring and Disruptive, which is really cool. That's by just looking up Lisa Messenger. So yeah, she's really like she's like super successful. I think she started out as sort of like a journalist, and then just about how she sort of built her own empire. So it's really cool. She has heaps of books on that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Barefoot Investor, it's kind of like the first one that really sort of got or sparked my interest into sort of property investing. So yeah, heaps. I'm always reading. Like to read.
Yeah. So
the book that you gave me, I'm like halfway through.
Yeah, it's interesting concepts, eh?
Yeah,
Just
I
simple.
think I like all the self-help books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
And
a
then,
great place to draw confidence, eh? Like massive.
Yeah.
With this stuff.
Yeah. And then just courses. I've done precision nutrition. I've done the ISS and sports nutrition.
Yeah.
Sports Nutrition Australia. I did a 5-day clean health sort of boot camp thing, handstand workshops with the Phoenix Movement.
Yeah.
I went to a Sonny Webster seminar with Sarah too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How was he?
Yeah, really good.
He's a bit of fun, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a shame he couldn't come back. Like I was going to go to his last one, but
Yeah.
yeah, because you're not allowed to go near him, or you're not allowed to train with him because he got done for drugs. So
Yeah.
it's a bit hard. Yeah, cool, girls. So can you start to see where we're going with this? Like, if you really think about it, you got so many reasons to be confident. Like the amount of work that you've done on yourselves, it's a really cool place just to draw from. And if you go through and build all of this stuff out, you'll just start to realize, like, shit, when you reflect back on it, all the things that you've done, you can just take little pieces from it. And then when you need a bit of a confidence boost, or you're feeling a bit of lacking a bit of this confidence, you just go back and look at what you've done and give yourself a little pat on the back. Because as much as it's awesome to like have your coaches or your friends and that pick you up, if you can become a bit more reliant on picking yourself up and understanding that you are pretty good, that's going to create a lot of positive momentum, eh? And it's just like a morning routine. Like, you practice your confidence resume in the morning, you practice your daily gratitude, just builds positive momentum. And then all of a sudden, all you can do is you're just this unstoppable force. So it's pretty cool. Couple of quick ones just to go through. What are a couple of traits that you most like about yourself? And then what is the number one thing that you've done in your life that you're most proud of? So quickly, we'll just go rapid fire. Sarah?
I am a really good listener. I'm patient.
Yeah.
Should I keep going?
Yeah. Yeah.
Compassionate. I'm a good teacher.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Why do you think those traits about yourself? What reasons do you believe that they are traits that you have?
Well, I know that I am patient because through coaching and through helping people and teaching people, I'm pretty willing and able to sit there and like I don't get frustrated with it. Takes a lot to get me frustrated. I try to be pretty tolerant and patient. Yeah, and I try to be a good listener. So I practice listening to people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool.
And I think they're all very, very they tie in, like the being patient, being able to listen, being empathetic.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of it starts with listening, eh?
Yeah.
And listening to the person, not so much what you're trying to hear. It's
Yeah.
something that I'm like always trying to work on.
Yeah, and it's something that I think you can kind of, you get good at and then you get bad at through periods anyway. Or for me anyway, I might notice that I'm not being very good at listening for whatever reason, and then I got to kind of like remind myself. And something I heard, I can't remember where I heard it. It was a video or something recently. It was just about listening, or as a podcast actually, is listening without the intent to like give advice or say anything back, or to like no intention other than to just hear the person.
Yeah.
In some circumstances anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes it's like, I know for me, I find because we are in a role where we do give a lot of advice, sometimes it can be like, instead of actually like listening to what the person wants, it can be like difficult because you've got this idea of what the person needs, or we know what the person needs, but sometimes their complete description of what they want and need is completely different. So you really have to ask questions a lot more, and keep asking until you get, I guess, the answer that aligns with what you're thinking, and then repeating back, like, is this what you mean? And then just sort of reaffirming. It's bloody hard to do, eh? Like, I think I've noticed like with Manda, she's far better than I am in terms of just like listening. But I'm not too sure if it's just a feminine trait or whatever it is. But yeah, cool. Manda?
Oh, this is a really hard question. That I'm a hard worker.
Yeah, good.
That's all I've got.
What else?
A good listener. I don't know if I am a good listener though. Sometimes, like I think I'm similar to what Sarah was saying, is in the sense that like I think sometimes I can be really good, and then other times I can completely miss the fact. Like Jules and Whitney both came to like our Glow Social Circle like a couple weekends ago, and like I completely missed that what they were saying was like a really fixed kind of mindset kind of conversation. And like I didn't realize until after the fact when like Liz kind of pointed it out to me, and then I was like, of course, like that makes sense. So yeah, I think I sort of ebb and flow through it.
Yeah, for sure. Different people, eh? Different people, you got to listen in different ways, and I think we connect with the similar people. So
yeah, I guess another one would be that I always put people first.
Yep. Growth mindset. Tyler?
I have that hard worker. I have a good work ethic, and I'm dedicated.
Dedicated. Yeah, awesome. Cool. Easy, girls. And what's the number one thing you've done in your life that you are most proud of?
I have no idea.
Buying and starting to renovate a house.
Cool. Tyler?
So my first job.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, Sarah, you're going to come back to us with this one. Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm just going to quickly go into the next part, girls, but what I want you to do is take the time to actually like fill that out in your own time, because if you were to spend, half an hour and actually doing it yourself, you'll probably get a bit deeper into it, and you'll be like, with all of this stuff, it's like, it's quite hard to share with people, but when you sort of reflect and do it yourself, it can be a lot easier to sort of be a bit more honest and open with yourself. But we'll quickly just go over this one so that we don't take too much time. But this one here is like, who is your most confident self? And this is almost ties into like the alter ego. Who is your superhero? And who is like the person that you really want to be? And if we quickly look at this video, and I'll get you girls to fill this out later on, but we'll quickly watch this video. It's about body language. And essentially, like, who we show up as, it just shows in all these non-verbal cues. So we'll quickly watch this one. We'll watch a bit of it anyway. It's quite long, but you'll get the idea. So it's pretty cool.
I watched this video. It was really good.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but it's all jumpy and weird.
With body language.
What's that, sorry?
And we're particularly interested in other people's.
It's kind of jumping, like the video. It's not really.
Sweet. Well, go for and watch this in your own time, but then what you're going to do is fill out the most confident self. And so I want you to we're going to do this quickly, like on the spot, and then you can go through this in your own time. But what I want you to think about is the time where you have felt most confident and then what you're actually doing. So how did you show up? What was your body language? What was your focus? What was your self-talk? And how were you doing confidence? Okay, cool. And we'll start with Tyler. You're on mute.
I was probably most confident when I won my my 3-point shooting contest at my college. It was like a Midnight Madness, and so basically, for everyone that doesn't know, Midnight Madness is where the whole school comes and basically watches you just do like some fun things, and they just introduce your whole team. And so it was in front of like 6,000 of undergrads, and my coach nominated me and Sophie, who's a girl on my team, to shoot against 2 of the boys who were nominated as the 2 boy best shooters. And me and one of the boys had just this back and forth banter about that I was a better shooter than him, and he thought he was a better shooter than me. So it was great that we got to do it in front of the whole school. But yeah, so the first round went by, and I think we ended up in a tie. So it was me and this boy that we'd said that we were better than each other. We ended up in a tie. So they made us go around again, and I think I was feeling most confident because I was surrounded by a lot of my peers and my friends. They were all on the court with me, and they was kind of like hyping me up and making me feel like I could beat in. And there was lots of music, and it was a fun environment, and it felt really relaxed. It didn't feel like a high pressure situation. So I ended up beating him.
Yeah. Sweet. So essentially you were just super relaxed, having fun. Body language is confident as fuck because you're just gonna smoke this guy, and so yeah, cool. No, that's real cool. And that's something you got to tap into, and you got to go into that person. Later on in this course, we'll go through the alter ego one again, but basically what's her name? Beyonce. So her alter ego is Sasha Fierce, and she's normally she reckons she's quite shy and not really this sort of super powerful chick that you see on stage. And it's all we know of Beyonce is just fucking demon of a chick who's just the most powerful chick you can meet. But she actually has to become that character, which is pretty cool. And so she once she puts on her high heels and her fake eyelashes and dress and stuff, she becomes Sasha Fierce. And then she's got the most confidence ever. And so with you, Tyler, it's anytime you need to be that person that needs to win that 3-point shooting show, you just got to go into that relaxed state and just find that zone again, which is pretty cool. Sweet. Amanda?
What was the question again? I'm really sorry.
Who are you? What are you? Oh, so what is your body language, your focus, self-talk when you're your most confident?
Right, okay.
Who are you when you're your most confident?
Okay. Yeah, that's hard. I guess I just have to draw on some experiences, I guess, kind of like what Tyler did. But I mean, I guess one that really sticks out for me was in the most recent open, there was a clean and jerk workout, and
I remember this video actually.
Yes, yeah. And it was a weight that I'd never done before, so it was kind of all up in my head. And I guess what I do is that if I think I'm not going to be able to do something, but I just I'll protect myself by being oh, I've never hit this weight before, so I just won't, I probably won't get it today, but that's fine. I'll say sort of that's kind of the wild talk to myself. It's kind of a protecting thing. But the chick that was scoring for me, she was fucking just she's a little nugget. She's so great. She was just super pumped, and she was basically we're not leaving today until you do it kind of thing. And yeah, she just pumped me up heaps, and she was way more excited for me than I was excited for myself. So so it's just stuff like that, I guess. So yeah, that's kind of.
How did you feel when you walked up to the bar?
like kind of probably more confident than I probably would have been if like maybe I did it on my own, or like maybe if I didn't have someone as pumped up as like she was, like
Yep.
maybe if like someone was just like really chilled, like I probably wouldn't have like been as excited. But that kind of comes back to like my powerlifting thing about like how I could use that excitement, and she was really good in the sense that she was like making it about me, but she was really focused. Like she kind of had like the faith in me to do it. Like she's like, I know you can do it. So like she was all excited about that, and that kind of helped me be like, yeah, I can fucking do this. And she thinks I can do it, so I've got to do it, like kind of thing.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, cool. So like just super confident, but not like in a shell, pretty much. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's awesome. Did you stomp the ground or anything like that?
No. Chris asked me if I wanted to back slap the other day when I was like testing my squat, and I was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, it's definitely for you. It's about finding that middle point on your arousal curve.
Yes.
And it seems like you can sort of go either way. And it's actually quite a trait of the type 2s. Like when type 2As are like a little bit more stressed, they start to go down the line of the 2B3. So that's when you really got to bring back, you either got to bring back something to slow you down. So like something that's sympathetic, get that serotonin and stuff coming back. Sorry, the parasympathetic, but like you just want to bring yourself back, calm yourself down. And it's about, for you, probably identifying which one you're actually in. It's like, are you more down the chill zone where you need like someone to like be like, yeah, you can fucking do this? Or is it like, oh God, and it's like, and that's where like taking note of that body language is massive. And that's why I was sort of saying at the start of this, like, do you know what your red flags are?
Yeah.
And when you can sort of take more notes of them, and this comes back to training, it's something that I worked on a lot with Haley, like when she approached the bar. Because a lot of the time she'd only miss the lift because she had it in her head that she was going to miss it.
Yes.
And I was like, so what I want you to do is go pick someone on Instagram that like, will walk up to that bar and is just like, I'm going to fucking lift this.
Yeah.
And then just like be that person.
Yeah. It's the same like during sort of any like I guess like Metcon and stuff, when you kind of like want to just be like fuck this and give up, and then you're like, would such and such stop right here right now, or such and such probably right now is actually doing the 21 reps and you're going to stop at like 15. Like don't be that person, be that person kind of thing. And that's like I guess sometimes that'll help me get through like Metcon kind of workouts as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's massive. And that's why like I was so shocked when I did my burpees, because like generally when I go into competition, I'm even better. And I was like, it was just the weirdest situation, and it's like sometimes you got to be aware of where you're at. Yeah. And it was sort of like, it was just weird. But no, that's really cool. What about you, Sarah?
Do we want like an experience or?
Yeah, let's go back to something like that you've done.
Okay. I think kind of like what you just said, from what I have noticed, I have stepped up in competition. So like at Wodapalooza, like up until the point of going on stage, like I was nervous and whatever. But then as soon as like on stage, it was just like, yep, cool, ready to go, like super, super relaxed and just in the zone. And I guess when I'm in that confident space, I literally have no idea what's going on around me. It's just all me.
Yeah.
But yeah, super relaxed and just like dancing around and yeah.
Just having fun. Take that break off.
Yeah, which is funny, right? Like having fun, but also like being super serious at the same time.
Yeah. So right in that middle spot, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you have anything on that, Tyler? Like how to find that flow state?
Not really. I mean, Bo does. He has a lot of stuff, but I'm still learning it all.
Yeah.
But basically, like, the best thing that you can do is to try and find an activity that, like, puts you in that mental state, I'd like to say. So, I mean, nothing, like, for in my example, like, being in front of the whole school, like, nothing really puts that sort of pressure on you. But if you can try and find things like if I'm shooting and I add like a time pressure to it, and then if I don't make the time, then I'm running for it, like something else to put pressure on you. And then you can just like practice being in that state of pressure. It will help you learn how to switch on that performance mindset, and then you'll be able to control it more instead of relying on so many external environmental influences to help put you in it. You'll be able to control it better.
Yeah, 100%.
And like on that, sorry, do you find like making it super uncomfortable helps with that as well? Like you say, adding a time pressure can help, but like making the workout or the challenge like more uncomfortable.
Yeah, so
Done that, and I think that's helped.
one of my coaches who I love to play for makes training like really hard. And one day I went up to our training, I was like, why is it so hard? Like there's never going to be a time in game where I have to defend for 3 minutes straight. Like there's always going to be a timeout or a shot clock or something. Like I'm not going to defend for 3 minutes straight. And she was like, I know. And that's why you're defending for 3 minutes straight, because you're never going to have to do it. But if you can do it, then you're going to be even better on the floor when you're tired and it's the fourth quarter and you need to defend for 24 seconds.
Yeah.
So making it helps as well, because then you add the pressure of you want to perform.
Yeah, it's yeah, like when I've seen like the sharers that have done stuff like that. So one of my sharing mates, he's a really good mate, and one of his world records, he basically slid the disc about 16 weeks out, 12 weeks out from his world record. And essentially they're like, oh, you should call the pin man. Like he basically couldn't walk for 3 months. But then he's like, nah, I'm going to fucking do this. And on the day, he actually lost, by the end of the day, he had tunnel vision. So he couldn't actually, he was that dehydrated that he couldn't see basically out of his eyes. And he lost like 8 fingernails. And then like, he pretty much almost died. And this was over like the course of 9 hours. And he got like nowhere near the record, but he just said like, nah, there was no way I was going to stop. And he just put himself in that situation where he's like, there is no way I'm going to stop. And he'd done a lot of preparation on this beforehand, like where he put himself under that pressure of like knowing that he's going to have to suffer and it's going to be really intense. And it's real interesting because I'm a big sort of believer in minimum effective dose, but I think in terms of like any great athlete, the best of the ones that really find that line where you can do as much as you possibly can and put yourself in those situations, but it's recreating stress and pressure. And the more you can sort of do that without blowing yourself to bits is probably a really, really big benefit, especially when it comes to game day, because you'll see people that they do just crumble. But the people that have put themselves in those situations where it's like they've really put themselves under pressure more times than most people, they seem to come out on top because it's actually normal. It's not any different. It's just what happens day to day. And good ways you can do that in training. I used to do it a lot with CrossFit, where it was like, you just, before the workout, you sort of like, you plan out exactly what you're going to do in that workout. And then you just find that line and you just got to sit on it. And then what you got to do is almost have like a plan A, plan B. I think when I was the best at sort of when I was doing CrossFit was every single workout, I'd work out exactly how many reps I could do on it. And then while I was doing it, I was staying present in the moment and be like, okay, I've got 4 more to go, but I could probably do another 6, And it's like, you're just constantly assessing the situation and giving yourself like little scenarios where it's like, you got to practice the game, but you're practicing and not competing. Because when you're competing, you're sort of like, you got to go on autopilot. So when you're training and when you're practicing those scenarios, like Tyler said, where it's like, yeah, you're under pressure for 3 minutes, but you're never ever going to face that. But on game day, you're not even going to have to worry because you're more than prepared, So it's, yeah, that's really massive. You gotta put yourself under that pressure quite often, just in different ways. It's pretty exciting, actually. I really like that stuff.
Love it.
Yeah, and it's really, you can't really replicate it without having people there. that's what I've found probably over the last year and a half or so is like just training on my own. It's hard to replicate that intensity. Because like anytime I have someone around to train with, like my training I'll go up like 5 gears because it's like I fucking hate losing, eh? But it's just like it makes it more fun, and then you put yourself in that pressure situation, but you can't do it all the time. So, but yeah, do you guys do that? Like put yourselves in those situations?
Yeah, when I train with Sarah.
Yeah.
I fucking cannot stop. You must keep going.
Yeah, that kind of helps. Sometimes that doesn't actually work for me. A couple of reasons why, which I won't get into tonight. But things like I don't mind training on my own and making it super uncomfortable. Like I'll do an hour of step ups like in the gym with no windows open or fans on kind of thing. Like stuff like that that's just really gross and that you just don't want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. It's a bit like there's a bit difference between being fit and conditioned, eh? It's something I learned in Joel Jameson's Bioforce course. And he's like, you can get the fittest people in the world, they'll test like crazy numbers on everything. But once you're put under that pressure, like cortisol's through the roof, just everything is 10 times harder. So if you don't actually like condition yourself to the environment, it's going to make it very, very difficult. It's one thing I reckon why like Tia Toomey is so good. Like she trains up north, and then when she gets to the games, everyone else has come from cold climates, but she's used to it, you know? So I think she's just a super athlete, but she's also conditioned to the environment quite well. And it's just something that she's just a slightly different human as well. Where one of my friends, Tammy Robinson, I remember when she first started CrossFit, this was like, she'd only been doing it for 6 months and she made regionals. But like the first day she walked into the gym, she done like that 150 wall balls unbroken. And she's just like, I just wanted to like, I wanted to feel that burn like the whole time. And she just literally just done it unbroken the first day she walked into a CrossFit gym. But for her, she'd done so many 400-meter time trials before that. Like she was just used to hurting. So it's all transferable skills, eh? And, but anyway, like, we'll end it there. So all of this stuff here is like, go through these worksheets and like fill them out. Send them over to like your accountability buddy and just like have a wee chat about it, because this stuff is huge. If you think about the times where like you've walked up to a bar and you 100% know you're going to do it, or like you've walked on court and you know 100% you're going to have the best game of your life, like really try to recreate that in your mind and like get a clear visual sense of it, and then just write it out on here. It's like, how do you hold your body language? Are you dancing? Are you relaxed? Or are you just like, just really, controlled and calm? And if you can write out that, it's going to give you a bit of a tool, because what we want to do is we don't want to have this feeling, we want to do it. And the more we know what we do when we are in this state, the more we can go and replicate it, which is pretty cool. Sweet girls, I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, cool. Thanks. And fill out those forms and then share it to the group. Let us know what you're doing for training for the week as well. It's pretty cool to see what you're up to. So,
Cool. Thanks, Dale.
sweet girls. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye.